Welcome back to part 2 of the Kaleido show with Crafts 2. It's absolutely brilliant. Honestly, it's been bonkers busy. I knew it would be because actually, do you know what? Before the first hour, I really only discovered everything about this an hour before that. And I was like, what? So it can... And you can... and you don't have to... and it opened up. It's like a revelation as a machine. And I know, you know, if you've invested in your machines and you've got to know your machine and everything else, but then when you think that baby there can do so much, it doesn't take up all that room at all. It does foiling in ways you never even dreamed that you would be able to foil without buying special this and special that and another machine. And I've no space as it is. Where the heck am I going to put this one? Do you know what I mean? You don't need another foiling machine. You need this because it does the die cutting, it does the foiling, it's got all the plates you're going to need to it. It's got a magnetic base on it as well. How intuitive is that? Your dies can go straight on it. When you're die cutting, you can accurately put your dies straight onto your base plate and away you go. All the plates that you'll ever need are already there. If you're going for the starter kit, you get a foiling pen. Foiling pen? You mean I can draw anything I like and foil it? Yes, you can, absolutely and completely. I just love this. There's so many reasons to have this, and it's under £100. I'm not saying to you, right, OK, well, it's £200, but then there's special this, that to go with it, and da-da-da-da-da-da-da, and da-da-da, and John will be back in a fortnight with the extra da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Do you know what? Everything you've got to get started is absolutely here. And you know, if John Lockwood's put it together and developed it, you know that it's going to do all the jobs that you want it to do because John's a crafter and John's savvy as well. You know what? He doesn't want you spending hundreds and thousands of pounds. You know what? He doesn't think of the numbers. Absolutely, do you, John? You think of how easy is it to use and how is it going to work for the money I'm paying for it?
Yeah, basically, is it going to be good value for money? Would I buy it? Do I want it?
Absolutely.
And is it going to be easy? Is it going to be one of those gimmicks that I'm going to buy and put away after a week? And I've done it. I've got a foiling machine.
Yeah.
I used it. It was fab. It was great. It was boring. I put it away. It was done.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't going to buy 20, 30, 40 pound dies, hot foil dies, every time I wanted to do something different.
And also, it's almost like you needed to take an entry-level course into how to use it. Hang on a second, what type of die is it, right? How long does that need to wait? What level of heat do I need to put it on? How long does it need to be left? What happens if? And then the results you can get from it, you kind of think, oh, was it worth all the faff? I'd rather pay the printer to do the foiling. Do you know what I mean? This is intuitive. This is dead easy. Now, before the break, we stamped a really, really detailed stamp onto acetate, remember? And now the reveal, John.
Yes. So, have I just showed... So this is the piece. Yep. Literally. This was stamped onto the acetate. I peel it off there.
Now, look at that. Now, I don't know, I mean, actually...
It's all the detail. I'll take the paper away, look.
Yeah.
It's acetate.
Yeah, and look, no crinkles, no bumps, nothing. The acetate hasn't warped under the pressure.
Nothing, not warped, nothing. Everything is literally done. But we can go one step further, and this is what I love about this machine. OK?
Go on.
So, I've now got that, but this stamp has a matching die. Yeah? So, I can lay... the matching die over that.
Oh, is that where these butterflies have come from over here?
Get it in the right place, but watch. Now, normally, and I would still do this, tape it down. However, look, because of the magnetic base...
You don't need to.
I don't really... I would do probably at home nearly, but then, I'm not turning my machine off.
No.
This is still on heat.
Because the heat doesn't matter now. Oh, that's a nice noise, isn't it?
Because I've cut into paper. But now I have individually die-cut, foiled butterflies.
And honestly, can I just show you...
in one piece.
Can I show you them on a finished card as well? Because they end up looking like pure silver. I didn't know, I had no idea that these were cut out in acetate, but these are those butterflies, aren't they?
These are those butterflies, one set,
and
cut.
Look,
that's
look
it.
how delicate, and yet they've got that lovely structure. You know, with paper, you'd need to build that structure back in, but because it's acetate, you've got that manoeuvrability. And they look like pure silver, don't they? They're beautiful. Can I just read you? Well, actually, Ross is going to read it in my ear, and I'm going to say it to you. You'd have to pretend that I'm Janet, who has her Kaleido already. I am now speaking the words of Janet. They're now her words are voiced by an actor, by me. And she says, as well as foiling, I can't believe what a fantastic die cutting machine the Kaleido is. And I started on the electric ones as I had to stand to turn the handles on the manual. But this one is so easy, I can sit and use it. See, that's brilliant, isn't it? I hadn't even thought of that as well. This would make great sense. I talk to you all the time about my mum, and my mum has cerebral palsy, so that affects her movement in left arm and left leg. So she's got very, very limited, and she loves crafting. And the two things are not necessarily a marriage made in heaven, to be honest with you. So Dad is often called over as the extra pair of hands. But actually this, really, really dead simple as well. Because all you've got to do is line it up and you've got nice, easy control on the handle itself. It's not onerous, John, at all, is it?
It's not difficult. I mean, what we've even had done on this one is the handle there, if you notice, that spins.
OK,
that's
yes.
That's not a fixed point, and that's actually on with a metal pin.
Right.
For strength. So that moves as well. So you've not got that movement. If that was fixed, you're... Yeah. I can't explain it.
Yes.
It's just literally so easy to do, and even when you're turning it, but watch, that's got nothing in it at the minute. I'm not going to pretend, but it is just such an easy gearing on it as well.
Listen, can I just ask you, and please, if you happen to be watching this show right now and you were here for the launch, then you're probably a Crafts 2 fan anyway and probably came for the show. Let me know. Let me know. How is yours? Give me a live testimonial right now. Tell me what you were expecting. Tell me what you got that you weren't expecting. Any tips for John? Anything you've discovered that you think, oh, actually, John hasn't done. I wonder if John knows that this can also da-da-da-da-da. Let us know. Now's your opportunity. This hour is your opportunity. We have had loads of questions in, so we're going to start answering those as well. So let's start the first one. First question, John, from Anita. It's like question time, this. It's brilliant. If I want to use a metal shim to die cut, what would the sandwich be?
Right. The first question I would ask is sort of a question back to you, Anita. Why would you be using a metal shim? Yeah?
OK.
So it's been designed so you shouldn't need to. The two times to use a metal shim is if you've got a die that doesn't cut well.
Yeah.
And it needs more pressure. If that's the case, because we do a metal shim, all you would do is the standard sandwich plus your shim.
OK.
Yeah. So it would be base plate, 5mm plate, your fabric, your paper, your die, then your metal shim, then your 3mm plate as normal. Okay. Because when you're using a metal shim for that, then what you're wanting to do is increase the pressure in the sandwich. That's what it's there for. Yeah. So if you decrease the pressure in the sandwich to increase it with the shim, it doesn't do anything. Right. So it's there to increase it. Yeah. If you're cutting into the metal shim because you're cutting fabric and you think that's the way that you want to do it, again, it's exactly the same. You would keep the same plate. However, I'll show you this. This was made by Hayley's daughter. And every piece in here was cut with Hayley's dies, which she's launching with the pattern for this on Wednesday, I think. Right, yeah. Wednesday night. Yeah. Every single piece was cut in the Kaleido, and she cut 6 layers at once.
And she didn't need a...
No, and she didn't need one.
Gosh.
But if you are using it to cut fabric dies, I know with Hayley's that you don't need to, but you can cut it into metal. If you're cutting lots of layers of fabric, what you would do is you would take out the 5mm. Yeah. Yeah. You'd put in your 3mm, your metal shim, your 6 fabric, your die, and your 3mm on top. So basically, you can use any combination to find until it fits. But if you try and take it through and it won't take it, it's wrong.
Yeah, it's too much.
Yeah, it will tell you, you will know. Yeah. Yeah? And basically, if you put something in there and you get to the point where it's too hard to turn the handle, you stop and reverse. If you don't, you will break your handle off. Yes. And it's so obvious when that's happened, because you see the points where it breaks. And
in that scenario, you were the problem, not the machine. Yes. Putting it bluntly, but that's the reality of it.
But it's better to be fair to everyone and, you know, let them know what to do.
And listen, if you've got a supplemental question to that, then please do get it in. Just to talk about the plates for a second, you get all of the plates you're going to need for this as well. So if you're going for the Kaleido, any of the Kaleido bundles, you get all of the plates. So you do get your base plate, you get the 5mm plate and the 2 3mm plates as well. You get them included. It's good to know that. And John's still on his prototype plates, so he's been using those same plates for like a best part of a year, and they're still flat, everyone.
I know.
So there's no
you see, I can't say anything. I've got to stop myself because I know what machine you've got.
They might be frosting and everything else, but they're well loved and they're well used, but they're not boomerangs.
No.
Next question. Anyway, stop it now. Next question is for Elaine. Can I do card inserts with this, i.e. invites?
Do what you like with it, Elaine.
Yeah.
Yeah, do what you want. There's no rules.
Shall we show you?
What you can do, and this is something, again, with your card inserts, is the way that the process works, you can print with a laser printer or a photocopier and foil it with this.
Yeah, of course.
So if you want to print out your wedding inserts onto 80 GSM paper, you can do that and then just foil them.
Yeah.
Because it will work like... This does the job that nearly every other foiling machine does on top of what we do.
Yes.
The only thing it doesn't do are the hot foil stamps or dies.
Yeah.
Because they need, like you say, 8 minutes at 20 degrees. It's like a recipe.
It's like a washing machine.
Yeah, you can do that, of course. And all I would do with inserts is, because they're normally thinner, add a shim of card in so you're getting the right sort of tension and sandwich.
Yeah, yeah. And you'll get to know that. And if you're making many
you'll
of them...
feel it. Play with it.
Yeah. As soon as you've got that combination sorted, then that's it. You can mass make, can't you?
Yeah.
OK, this board here, John, that you've put together for us, I mean, it just shows you a breadth of different mediums and methods. Just talk me through this, will you?
So basically, you've got the top one is using magic medium.
Yeah.
And that's using the waste and then using a second colour over the top.
OK, which we saw you do earlier.
The second one is actually the positive from that piece, and that's actually a very fine handwriting text stamp of mine from about 6 years ago.
Awesome.
From a release of mine years ago.
Yeah.
Then you basically got the multicoloured foil onto brown card.
Lovely.
Yeah. Magic medium through a stencil and then foiled.
That's awesome.
Drawing through with the pen through a stencil and adding different colours of foil each time.
Oh, yeah.
Because, of course, you can draw through a pen. Stamping onto rice paper and foiling. Vellum. Perfect. Now, that was actually Sam did that, and he actually stamped and put clear embossing powder on, then put the foil on and ran it through.
Brilliant.
To give a sort of raised edge.
Yeah.
Basically, stamping and foiling onto patterned paper.
That's a good idea, isn't it? Dimension-wise, that's really beautiful, isn't it?
You've almost got to be in the right place to see it.
Yes.
Because how expensive it makes the paper look, because you're foiling your paper.
Beautiful, isn't it?
So, wax crayons, you know, the wax pencil crayons, scribbled over, but if you stroke that, you'll feel it's completely set into the paper.
Oh, yeah. That's totally smooth. It's almost like you were
you
just
can
touching
stamp on that and foil it now. So you could stamp on that and foil it.
That's brilliant.
That's basically foiled stamp and then watercoloured over the top, because the foiling resists the watercolour because it's foiling.
Yes, of course.
A reverse stamp done using the magic medium waste.
That's beautiful, isn't it? I love
the actual piece that was stamped with it, and that's a very old Just Right stamp. But look how fine that text is and that stamp.
Yes. And you get every detail, don't you? That's the great
thing. Everyone. This is, Sam stamped this with the same stamp, gone over it 3 different times and added a different colour foil each time. So you can stamp over foiled images and refoil, and it won't pick up another colour.
Oh, now look.
That's using your scraps.
Now, that is awesome, isn't it?
So all you do is
keep changing
stamp
colours.
your image, throw all your scraps on top, put a piece of grease-proof paper on to hold them in place and foil it.
Bonkers, isn't it, what you can do with it?
That is a foam stamp. You know, one of the bargain, what did you call them earlier?
Value.
The value stamps. So that's a value foam stamp, stamped in the Kaleido ink and foiled. That's lavender from my garden, pressed in, and fill the paper again. And it's completely smooth because it moves the colour in, not the actual product.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, so again, that I think is just stamping on card and foiling it, or that might be the embossing powder he did.
Yeah, I think that's embossed as well.
Yeah, the next one is wax crayons.
See, that's clever. I love the effect there. That's beautiful, isn't it? And that's set into the paper.
That's set into the paper, so that's like an inky background.
Yeah.
Again, so waste on magic medium from a stencil.
Yeah.
The stencil with magic medium straight on.
See, it's so clever, isn't it?
That is leaves pressed into it and then wax crayons over the top.
And again, all set into the paper.
All set into the paper.
Brilliant.
So you're making your own paper. Stamped over the top of watercoloured background. And again, you must make sure you've left that watercolour background to dry. Flicking ink, Kaleido ink at paper and then foiling it.
That's a good idea, isn't it?
To give you the ink technique.
Grungy.
That is, and the last one is stamping the Kaleido ink over a wax background and then foiling it.
Ah, yeah. Beautiful. That's lovely. So, and that's just, you know, again, it's all about, this is a peek through the letterbox at the potential and the possibilities of that. What looks so simple.
It looks just like a simple die cutting machine.
Can do so much.
And I know we don't normally talk sort of price and things like that, and I'm always saying this, I feel bad. My first die cutting machine was an A5 die cutting machine. It was bought for me as a present, and I know for a fact it cost £85.
Yeah.
And that was years ago.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but the fact it does everything else on that one for just a thing, I just think it's amazing.
Well, I mean, I know how much I spent, and again, I'm not here to, you know, we have to be very, very careful what we say. We're not here to knock anybody else.
No.
But you're always comparing, aren't you? You know, when you buy a new car, you're comparing it to the old one. You're buying a new washing machine, you compare it to the old one and whatever. And I know I'm a baby steps crafter, so I've been crafting for less than 12 months. And I know how much my first die cutting machine cost. And I know its limitations as well, because you get to know your machine, you get to know more what it can't do than what it can do. Because, of course, whenever someone says to you, well, you can do this and you can do that and do that, you always, that little voice, that little man that sits on your shoulder, or a little voice that sits there says, try that. Try that, try that. And that's where you really put a machine through its paces. This is brilliant. And it's less than £100. So if you're sitting on the fence on this one, sit on the fence no longer. I know that phrase, life's too short. We've heard it year after year after year. And actually, it didn't really matter up to a certain point. You didn't really hear it. It went in that ear and out the other. After the last 12, 15 months, we all know what that really means now, don't we? So actually, you know what, if you want something, yeah, you can wait until tomorrow. Yeah, you can wait until this comes back in stock at the end of June, July, whenever it might be, when the next lot comes in. You can just sit and, you know, do what you do between now and then. Or you can give us a call right now for £33.33 plus your postage today. Get this home, start foiling, as well as being able to die cut. You've got all the plates, you've got everything you need in your starter kit, and you'll be back for more. And you may as well pick up the acetate while you're here as well, because if John says it's taken him 3 months to find the right acetate that will foil without doing all of that, wrinkling, sending the image under, it's really bizarre. I mean, you don't want to create chocolate moulds, do you? You just want a beautiful printed foiling onto acetate. That is the acetate to get. In fact, just testament to that, actually. How much of the stock of that, Ross? Just have a little check on the acetate. OK, 4/5 of the stock, 80% of the stock. Now, this wasn't here when the machine launched back in March. It's brand new today. So that's accumulation of those people who bought it when it launched and the people that are buying it today, snapping it up while it's there, and 80% of that stock has gone. This is speaking for itself, if you think about it. It's not just another launch. It's not like John comes to us, you know, every 5 minutes and goes, here's today's machine. And for today's trick, I've got this. You don't do that. You don't do it unless it's so good that you think, actually, you've got to see this. You've got to see this.
This is only the second machine that Crafts2 have ever done of their own in 22 years.
Wowzers.
We have tested, and people know that I was testing an electric machine for a long time. It wasn't good enough. We didn't do it.
You rejected it?
We rejected it.
I remember hearing the story.
After a lot of work.
Yeah.
So this is only the second machine we've actually done. And I know the old one, it was the press boss. People are still chasing it now. Because that was such a good one, because the ethos was the same back then. It's got to work. It's always tested by crafters. Absolutely.
Well, listen, while we've got you here, of course, you are the man that can... Well, you know this machine inside out. You developed it. We've got another question. Keep your questions coming in by all means. studio@thecraftstore.com. Elaine asks, do you know if you can foil onto transparent glossy vinyl for making your own foil stickers?
I don't actually know.
There's an interesting one.
Now, because you can stamp onto the acetate, it should be possible, as long as the vinyl is heat-resistant vinyl. and it doesn't, I would just test a small piece.
Yes.
Because it's about it warping.
Yeah.
I didn't expect the sort of acetate that you buy to go through laser printers. Everything says that that should work in here.
Yeah.
Because it goes through a hot laser printer and it has laser toner put onto it.
Yeah.
Yeah? It doesn't work.
Okay.
So I would test it. I don't actually have any HTV vinyl at home to test it, I'm afraid.
Right.
It's the one thing Sam didn't get into with his cricket.
Yeah.
Was he didn't really get into much of the vinyl, so we haven't got a lot. But try it. I can't see why not, but you must make sure you do what I did with the acetate for the butterflies, which is to leave it to dry a good couple of hours or overnight. Yeah? Because if not, that's what you're going to get.
Yeah.
Because it's going to come off, as opposed to getting what I got when I did it then, which is the perfect butterflies.
Listen, if you've been in that situation, as Elaine just described, by the way, and you've tried it, you're one step ahead of even John on this one. By all means, studio@thecraftstore.com. Listen, everyone's got something to learn on a show like this today. Now, if you want to see magic, my word, when you said the words to me, do you want to see it on an embossing folder?
Yeah.
I was like, I can't even begin to think of the process you have to go through to get an embossing folder involved in foiling.
Yeah, it is actually so much easier than you would think.
Okay.
It genuinely is. What I'm going to do is I will start, you say start from the very beginning. I've got an embossing folder. I've got a piece of card. Normally, I didn't get my guillotine out, which annoys me, because I've always got my guillotine.
You did have enough to bring today, though.
It's in there. I just didn't fetch it out.
Is it right?
So this is a 3D embossing folder, so I'm going to use the 5mm plate.
And that's all you need?
Yeah, straight through. I don't have to turn the machine off. But if you're not foiling, don't have it turned on. Don't waste your electric. Only turn it on when you're using it, but you don't have to turn it off. And that plate's not even warm. So there is my embossed image. Okay.
Does the heat actually... Because sometimes before people put their card through an embossing folder, they'll spritz it first to loosen the fibres in the paper. Would the heat help in that embossing?
No, heat won't make a difference because the heat won't touch it, because the heat touches the plate. It doesn't go through the plate. So all you do is take your ink pad and rub it over.
And you're only touching
now, because I'm doing it not like a stamped image, and I'm just touching the top like that. Yeah. Okay, that's quite dry. So I don't have to worry about leaving that particularly to settle. Yeah. So we'll grab some gold. And I'll be very naughty and not trim it on my trimmer. Sorry, June, you're right, but I'm not really set up for that anymore here because I'm changing colours and all sorts of things. So all you do, okay, same again, make a fold. Yeah. So remember, this is anywhere you have the ink, the special Kaleido ink, it will foil. Simple as. See? Yeah. And it won't work, as I've had lots of questions. If the ink won't work in a laminator. Right. We've tested that and over-tested and it won't. Yeah. And normal ink won't work with our foil in the machine. Okay. It's a combination of the foil, the ink, and the Kaleido. They were designed together. But there...
You think of all the embossing folders that you've got and you've bought that never come out.
That's obviously flat now. Yeah. But it doesn't have to be, does it? Because it just goes back in.
Oh, of course, yes, because to foil it, you've had to put it through the rollers, haven't you?
Foil it, I've put it through the rollers, so all I do is...
Do it again.
Does this every time. That's why I cut the card to size last time, so that I got it in the right place. Oh, no, because honestly, I'm an idiot.
No, you're really not, John.
I am, trust me, at times.
No, you're really not.
There we go. Just sit straight back in. Yeah. On the plate with a 5mm plate, and we run it through. Simple done. And there you now have a foiled 3D embossed. And of course, normally you would say, wow, what a waste of foil there, because look at look at the bit that you've left over. There's nothing you can do with that. Yeah. No, but of course there is. But of course there is. Well, what I'll actually do is, this is a piece that Sam prepped for me. Yeah. This is a Tim Holtz stencil. Okay. And he's gone through it with Magic Medium. Yeah. Yeah. So I'm not going to waste that foil, but it shows almost how, if you like your mixed media and things a little bit different, how you can actually achieve that. So we
And
just
if Sam
have
prepped that,
to...
that's going to be some time ago as well, by the way.
Oh,
So again, we
this
talk
was...
about the...
When was I last on here? Was it Wednesday? So he did it on Wednesday.
Right.
So I'm just looking a minute
it's
for my
now
base
Sunday.
plate because I've put it somewhere stupid.
What have you lost?
My base plate for my machine. Oh, it's there.
There it is.
It's always in front of me somewhere because it always is.
Everything's white on the desk you see at the moment.
Yeah, basically. So I can just run that through. I've made sure that the foil has completely covered the paper with the medium on. Yeah. So we peel that off. So it's taken it a little bit off, a little bit too much, but then I've got the pattern over.
Awesome.
Right, but if I then take another colour, it will pick up where the rest is.
Because there's more magic medium on
Because there's more magic medium on the card.
So you could take that halfway and you could take another colour for the other half. You could do
can
all of that in
play
one
with
go
it,
as
but
well.
I will-
You could do
yeah.
smaller strips of different colours, like the sort of rainbow ombre that we saw in one of the
Yeah,
examples
or
before.
the waist. There we go.
And again, isn't it fuss-free? Isn't it? Isn't it easy?
That's so, but you can't, that's a negative. So do you want me to show you how to do a stencil?
Yeah, go on.
Right,
I've got to give you a stock update, though, I
If you
think,
could.
actually. It's the medium bundle. So if you want to pick up on the medium bundle, if you're getting your starter bundle, it's well worth getting a medium bundle as well. It's now limited stock, though, just so that you know. So for those people who've got their Kaleido machine from launch who want this, and again, we have to try and leave some stock as well for people who aren't here right now. You know, they've gone out because they can on a Sunday now. Hooray at last! But for people who'll come back and watch on the rewind later, fingers crossed. Check the website and the app, of course, to see. But live as we are, as 3 on Sunday afternoon. That's now limited stock, so if you've got it in your basket, please do get it checked out. It's been a phenomenally busy show. I'll remind you of everything that we've got in the show in a wee while, but this is about picking John's brains as much as anything, actually. If you've got the machine, or if you're thinking of buying it today and you're thinking, yeah, but I want to know, John, you know, I love all the things you've shown me so far, but will it? Da, 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 da. You complete that sentence. Drop us an email.
Yeah.
Right, stencil.
Stencil. So here's a stencil. Let's grab a piece of card. Let's grab a piece of, and this is where you can use your smooth card. Again, I'm always cautious, and I only say this because I know the manufacturing process of it. I'm always cautious of super smooth in terms of foil, in terms of machines, because it's almost already been over processed, ready to go in the print.
For a different type of print.
For a different type of print.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's already ready there for it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm using the new stencil artboard because life is far too short to be taping stencils down. So we launched this a couple of weeks ago, but it's just so much easier than taping it down and wasting all that tape.
Yeah.
So magic medium, along the top.
Okay.
Scraper, spatula, whatever you use. Scrape it down. That's it. Take, and I always do this, take a piece of paper, scrap paper.
You've got to, haven't you?
Yeah, don't waste it. Any spare medium, put it onto there because that's what we do with our negative. And basically we then take that off and I either leave that for 20 minutes or I pop it on a radiator for about 4 minutes at home.
And just leave it.
And just leave it.
I love the way you've got that raised with the magic medium because it's textural as well. So the deeper your stencil, the more texture you get. Obviously, the longer it will take to dry. But I love that.
The only thing I find is when you're using a sort of a very thick, deep stencil, just drop your sandwich a little bit.
Right. Because you don't want to.
Because you don't want to
squish it away.
Yeah.
So you can distort the visual as well. Won't it?
It will. Yeah. So you can always drop that. So this time, I actually haven't got enough to wrap over.
Okay.
But it's not as important. But I make sure, look here, I've covered. There's no magic medium. Honestly, if I put this piece through with magic medium with no foil on it, the heated roller will grab that, and you will roll it round. And then you will be on the phone or on DM to me or Sam, and we will be slowly telling you watch this video and trying to talk you through it, or you'll be onto the call centre saying there's something wrong. You just take a little bit of time. Remember, think like a sandwich machine, a sandwich press. You get out what you put in.
Yeah,
simple.
absolutely.
So both plates, gone through, run that through, nice and slowly, quickly.
And see, the speed doesn't matter. There's no benefit to going any slower or any quicker. It's just works. I mean, that's bonkers, isn't it?
And this is the most detailed stencil I could find.
And the thing is, that stencil could have been a £15 separate buy.
Yes.
As a foil stamp.
As a foil stamp, that would cost you around £15 to £17.99. And that's all it would do. That's literally all it would do. Whereas we still have a stencil we can do. I mean, I was going to take, this is another one, and show you a different way of stenciling.
Okay.
So, again, I've already magic mediumed that. So let's grab another piece of card.
You've done yourself out of a few quid here, John, with this machine.
I know.
You know what I mean? Like but that's the way you think, isn't it? Even though you are in the craft business, John thinks like you do, because he is a crafter. Do you know what I mean?
I got into this more and more by watching crafting TV.
Yeah.
And what I found was, to me, the most surprising was they didn't take things slowly and show people how to do things.
Yeah.
And I had a budget.
Yeah.
And I still have a budget.
Yeah, of course.
And so, as you do, you know exactly how much per month you can spend on it.
Yes.
And I want to get the most for that budget, and I want everyone else to do the same.
Yeah.
So what I've got here is I'm going to use my ink pad, because this is my one that's already inked. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And I'm going to use just like one of the sponge dauber fingers.
Right.
Now you can use, and I will show you, I'll do half with this and half with a blending brush.
Okay. Right, so you're doing like a proper inking
This is
technique
ink,
here.
yeah.
Right.
But again, I'm just holding it down with. But can you see? That's not soft enough. It's hardly going through. Right. I'm going to show you now. I'll give you a warning on this. I'm going to use my blending brush. It's one of the Craft Artist blending brushes.
Right.
And if you can see, that will take that as it would any ink through this stencil. Yeah.
The only difference is, I suppose, is the drying time is going to be a little bit longer with this than your traditional inks.
It would be.
Yeah.
But when you do it this way, it just tends not to be.
Oh,
so I'm going to put this in. I would always recommend
it's a very
waiting.
thin layer, isn't it?
But it's only a thin layer.
Yeah,
however, what I have to show you is you have to have a brush that is for the Kaleido.
Right.
Because you will never be able to use this
brush.
brush
A dedicated one, you mean?
for another ink. This is what happens if you don't wash your brush.
So you've lost it, effectively.
I have to wash this now, and it will never be as soft as they were.
Oh, okay.
Yeah?
Right.
So you have one just for the Kaleido, and you wash it. And again, it just keeps the waste down.
Yeah, of course.
But then you can see there.
And see, to be able to foil that, which is an element of a stencil, any stencil that you've got in your collection right now, from any of the companies that you buy from here on the craft store, anything you've ever bought, you can use and you can foil. You know, it gives life to stamps that haven't seen the light of day in that bottom drawer. You know, remember that seashell stamp or whatever it was? It was a flower of some sort, a butterfly. Well, yeah, I used it a few times on some cards, and they thought, well, you know, everyone's seen that now. Give it new life.
Yeah.
Any stamp, any die. This is the thing that blows my mind. So, any die cut, you can foil. Any stamp, you can stamp and you can foil. Any stencil, you can get through and you can foil as well. And actually, look at that. Look, I mean, you can see from there, can't you? How impressive is that? How detailed is that? And that's using, you know, a regular inking technique, brushing the ink on through a stencil. It's bonkers. And actually, remember, you've got the pen as well. So if you actually want to, with your own handwriting, foil that, so if you wanted to finish that off with your own message to someone special, you could do that, couldn't you?
Just write in whatever you want to.
And then off you go.
Yeah, any ink technique you can do. Any painting you can do.
I think it's so good, John. I really, really do. So I'm bowled over by this. I've got to tell you that the medium bundle... Did I tell you this already? No, I thought I hadn't told you. I didn't want to interrupt John as well, but the medium bundle, well done for grabbing that while you could. That has now sold out and gone. Should you just do a quick recap? Because I'm just wary that we're We've literally got 20 minutes left in what is a 2-hour special. So I just want to show you what we're talking about here, because you're probably thinking, oh gosh, what, another machine? Another machine? How much is this one? 300, 500, 700? No. How many jobs is this one going to do? Because I've already got a machine for this and a machine for that and da-da-da-da-da-da. And don't talk to me about foiling, because that's a whole new set of dies for that. That's a whole this, that and the other. It's a whole separate machine, and I need to take a course to learn how to use it. There are about 65 different settings I can be using. And then will I like the result? And what happens actually if I don't like the result? I've spent several £100s on something that's a bit of a white elephant. Do you know what I mean? Something... Well, John's been in that situation as well. Had a foiling machine.
Janet, who you gave a quote from earlier from Facebook.
Yes.
I actually noticed last night she's got a foiling machine.
Right.
And she's actually put it on Marketplace now.
Yeah.
To sell it off.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
that and the die cutting machine she bought to go with it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And why wouldn't you? Because John Lockwood, you are terrible.
No, she genuinely.
Yeah, no,
you know,
absolutely. But you would in that, because actually you could recoup the cost of your Kaleido by actually disposing of, even in a profitable way to you, the machines that you've got that are taking up the space, that aren't really doing the job, because this is a die cutting machine as well. This is a die cutting and a foiling machine. It's bonkers, isn't it, really? And the only control on it, I don't know whether you can see it on the side, can you? Well, we'll get a camera around there because it's very technical. All you need to do is obviously plug it in. It does come with a power cord as well, by the way. Oh, you can't see, that's not a live shot. You just flick that switch and wait until it beeps twice. I think we can all manage that, can't we?
I've got it here. Effectively, if you see when it's switched on, it's red.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I switch it off, it goes off.
That's it.
When I switch it on and it comes up to temperature, it will go beep, beep, and it's done. And after a while of not using it, it will switch itself off.
Yeah.
I didn't discover that when I left it on all overnight in the studio when I did the first show or anything.
Not at all.
Or when I left it in the craft cave for 2 days switched on. And I was originally testing it and panicked and ran in there.
And of course you would,
I'd been
wouldn't
away
you?
and it was fine. It switched itself. It doesn't switch itself off. The light comes off. The heat stops.
Yeah.
You turn it off, turn it back on again, and it will bring itself back up to temperature.
Absolutely. Which would make sense if you think about it for the type of machine that it is, because it's not just a foiling machine. It is also a die cutting machine as well. So of course a machine like that, you would never want it to be heating and heating and heating and heating to the point where, you know, the whole thing just disappeared into a blob of white plastic.
It has a thermostat that's actually on the roller.
Of course.
That controls the temperature.
Yeah.
And if it starts to increase, it will just switch itself off.
Yeah. It's honestly, today for me is a revelation. So I have in the back of my mind that I would quite like to have one of these. And I have a die cutting machine. And I'll be honest with you, I considered a foiling machine. And I thought, oh, I love, you know, anything sparkly and shiny and shimmery and metallic. I'm at it like a magpie. I've got every kind of mirror card there is under the sun at home. I'm a baby steps crafter. I'm getting there slowly but surely. But the die cutting machine that I've got, which again, I'm not here to knock, but for me now versus this, I feel like the one that I've got is noisy and impractical, and there are other things that I can think, actually, this will do it so much better. And the fact that I can just pick this up and move it around. You know what? It's not like the biggest paperweight in history. Do you know what I mean? I love this. I think it's really, really good, and because it can do so much. Anyway, sorry, that's me. And listen, it's not like I'm not on commission here, by the way. John's not slipping a 20 quid note in my back pocket every time I say something nice. I'm telling you what I genuinely feel about this, and I only got to know it an hour before the show started. So here is your starter bundle. And actually, we say starter just because that's the word that you have to use when you first get something, really. But you know what? That's your start, middle, and a long way down the line as well, because you get the machine, obviously, itself. You get all the plates that you're going to need for it. You get a roll of foil, which is brilliant. It's about 2.5, 3 metres on that to start with. You get your magic pen, which is magic as well, because you can literally write with that and then foil with it. It's as simple as that, so you can write straight away with it. And that's all we need. That's all we need to get going to doing the things that John's been showing you right now. All of that, and it's less than 100 quid. And this is only the second machine in how many years, John?
22.
22 years of Crafts 2. This is only the second machine in their entire 22 years. That tells you something. That tells you something. That it's not just about the money, honey. Right, 807 642 is your item number for that. Right, OK, we've still got plenty of time.
Right,
John, what should we do next?
So, the one question I get asked, so I've gone through basic stamping, I've gone through stenciling, I've gone through the basics. I've tried to say, you know, remember, think sandwich, think machine. There's lots of videos online. There's also the shows from last time, and the shows from today will go on my YouTube channel, hopefully, as well.
Brilliant.
So there's plenty of inspiration out there, and we'll do more on the group. But to answer some questions that I'd had in, one of the ones I had in was MDF.
Oh, OK, yes, there's a lot of that about, isn't there?
There is no way, using the current process, that you can foil onto MDF.
No.
Because you can't press a hot foil stamp die. Because I know your knowledge, you can't do it into it, no?
No.
So literally, that is, here we go, there's foiled MDF.
All those MDF coasters you've bought.
I've stamped onto it. I've actually should we do it with a coaster?
Yeah, why not?
Okay, so stamped on coaster. Right, really simple.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we know for a fact that we have a 3mm plate, a 5mm plate, and a base plate.
Yeah.
Yeah. This MDF is 3mm, so I take the plate away.
All right.
There you go.
That's it?
That's it. Yeah.
Gosh, it's so technical,
Do you
this,
think
isn't it?
I know it is. Yeah. Think about it. If I got 4mm MDF, then I would put in, because I want to go 5, 6, 7, 8mm, don't I? So I would actually put in either a 3mm plate and a couple of shims, or I would actually put 2 pieces of 4mm MDF in.
Yeah. Yeah, of course.
Because all I've got to do is to make sure that from that plate up to there, I've got to go 8mm.
Right.
5, 6, 7, 8.
So that's the general rule. Right, yes, of course. That's
and
why
of
you've got
course,
the 5
it's
and the 3.
8mm plus a piece of card.
Yeah.
So there's my piece of card. There's my MDF at 3mm.
Yeah.
So base plate 5mm, card 3mm MDF.
You just basically need to be able to count to 8.
Yeah.
Really. To
run it through. Go, right, OK. So that didn't feel like it was enough pressure.
Right.
Yeah. So this actually might be 2mm MDF.
OK.
So, because obviously I tested it on.
Oh, yeah.
So what I would do is, if it wasn't locked in my case, I would now use my metal shim that I have.
OK.
But a metal shim doesn't come with it.
Right.
So let's not start telling you to buy other things.
Yeah.
So all I do is use a couple of shims. Yep. Oh, there we go. Now I'm getting tension.
OK.
Yep. 2 was too many. Let's take 1 out. Because no matter what anybody says when they are selling you die-cutting machines about how you will never need to shim it and it's the best machine ever and every die will always cut in the middle, you know, I laugh at home because over time they lose their tension in the middle and things. The smaller the machines don't.
Yeah.
But you will have to play around with things to get it to work.
Of course, yeah.
It was not magic, but there is a foiled coaster.
That's genius.
And can you see the extra around the edge?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's because that's the edge that went in with the too high a weight.
Right.
So it was forcing it on.
Yeah.
So I'd over-shimmed it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what I would normally do is go and grab out of my case my glue eraser.
OK.
And on card, this takes off excess foil where it's not supposed to be.
Because in fairness, in all the techniques you've shown us so far...
So can you see there where it's foiled?
Yeah.
It's actually got some ink on it, but...
That's the first time that I've seen any kind of over foil.
Yeah,
with
and I know
this.
exactly why it happened.
But that was that you were establishing the right depth. Yeah.
But that's done.
I love that.
It's showing at the bottom. It's just took tension.
It's so good.
So I did say as well, you can make your own sort of handmade paper.
Oh, yeah.
So normally this would be leaves from my garden. However, the aster trees that I would normally steal the leaves from have got bugs on them.
Oh, we don't want bugs on them.
No, so Sam was having to spray yesterday.
That wouldn't make an
because they've
attractive
got
background,
not
would
nice
it?
bugs on them.
Oh.
So here's a piece I did with flat leaf parsley from the supermarket.
Oh. Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, you
So
can see that. Can't
all you do is to make something like that, a couple of pieces of mixed media card or watercolour card. Again, just trimmed in half. You can take, and I would normally pick the leaves and then use them a couple of hours later just to let them dry a little bit.
OK.
But it doesn't matter.
Yeah, because you don't want the excess moisture,
You don't
I
want
guess.
too much excess moisture, but it doesn't cause a problem because your heating element is in the top.
So you could do this with dried flowers and things like that as
Yeah,
well, couldn't you?
exactly. If you're going to use a dried flower, if you soak your paper with water and put your dried flower, it will actually start to impregnate the dried flower into the paper.
Oh, will it?
Yeah.
Oh.
So straight through. Yeah. Run it through your machine. Make sure you've got your sandwich right. Take out any shims you've got. So 5, a 3, and 2 pieces of paper. Get it in. Turn the handle. A little bit more tension. Take it off. And there's my print.
That's clever.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
And the machine will take, you know, and you can use all of the techniques you'd normally do in a die cutting machine.
Yeah.
So if you've got sort of the plastic or the metal stencils that you want to emboss through it, do that exactly the same.
Yeah, Daniel was just asking about
yeah.
metal stencils.
Yes.
So we could, use
You could
the
take a
metal.
metal stencil, you could take a
Right.
sweet poppy stencil,
Yeah.
put the medium through it and foil it through here.
Yeah.
As I said, you could even take the metal stencil. You would need to have a different embossing. You need to have an embossing mat.
Yeah.
And it's the one thing we don't include in here. And the simple reason is that I don't emboss dies
Right. Yeah.
because I don't think it makes any difference at all.
Uh-huh.
It's so little, the difference. It's not worth the cost of doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So the biggest issue that I have from people asking is about sentiments.
Okay.
So people ask about sentiments because obviously they're usually very fine.
Yeah.
And it's the biggest place where people want to be able to go, bang, there it's done, I want to get a foiled sentiment.
Okay. Right.
So
yeah.
I just need to find my sentiment pile. If there's something you can cover.
Oh,
in a
okay.
minute.
Yes, there is.
Sorry.
Absolutely. Of
Where
course
the
there is.
heck have
I'm
I
going to
put
show you some
those?
finished samples, actually, because we've got all of these beautiful finished samples here. We've not seen them all the way through 2 hours. So let's indulge in a few of those then, shall we? Just show you some of the possibilities. I mean, look. I mean, it's just so beautiful. This is John's favourite tree stamp again.
Peter's tree. I think we have got it as an end of call actually on the show.
Have you?
Yeah.
It appears again and again and again and again. Love that. Now that looks like an embossing folder, is it? That's gone through an embossing folder.
That's an embossing folder that's gone through and been foiled and then re-embossed.
And stamp any stamp that you've got. Remember, no matter how fine the detail is, you can foil. Oh, I'm loving this because this is actually a mixture of layered embossed layers, isn't it?
Yep.
And then a stamp there. That looks really cool, doesn't it? That looks like it's from some really cool, like, you know, like new restaurant, you know, where you can see it's the kitchen and all the rest of it.
Yeah,
looks
it
really
does actually.
trendy,
Yeah.
doesn't it?
But
I love
what
it.
this Kaleido's got me to do, as you said, is it's pulled out all my old stamps.
Yeah, of
But then
course.
the same image this time, made into a shaker card with acetate.
Is that beautiful? And again, you can see on the acetate, the image that you get is faultless. It's not distorted, it's not disturbed, and I love that as a little shaker. It's really cool. And of course, it means you can foil in lots of different ways onto lots of different things as well. I mean, look at how fine the detail is, and that's obviously from a stamp there. But look at how many lines of text. And that's all script text, by the way. It's all gobbledygook. It's one of those stamps, isn't it? That's just there to give you the impression, isn't it?
Actually, I think that is Daisy Daisy in French.
Oh, is it?
Because I believe it's one of mine very old ones
Oh.
from a different iteration. And I
let's have a
believe that is this. 2 I did. One is Daisy Daisy in French, and one is 'Twas the Night Before Christmas in French.
And there was me calling it gobbledygook.
I was told, basically, if you want to do a text stamp, it has to be in a different language or something, so there can't be any possibility of there being something rude in there.
Oh, I see. Well, not that
That's
would...
usually why they do body copy stamps. Yeah, I did
I
have a
see.
friend who used a stamp, and it was taken from an old book, and it had some really words that shouldn't be in
Oh,
there.
some dodgy words,
Yeah.
yeah, which can just happen by...
You're looking now to see if you can find some dodgy words.
by osmosis. How clever is that? Really beautiful. Now, this board you've made for us, John, down here with the tags on it. Oh gosh, I don't know if I should show you this actually, because this really is an example of some of the foils that you now can't get hold of, isn't it? I think. So I'll just give you a quick look, but it just shows you the extent of the quality of that foiling.
The detail you
Yeah, it's
get,
the
you
detail.
get every little piece of detail.
Isn't it stunning? It's really difficult to show you. It's one that you need to kind of see. And this is why you need to get this machine home. And this is why you need to take the stamp that you've got, the one that you go to time and time again, and put this through its paces. Now, have you found your sentiments, John?
I haven't, but I've got some that I've already stamped.
Okay.
We're going to have to go with that one.
Alrighty.
So, I found the bits I've done. The biggest issue we've got with sentiments is, first of all, they need to be stamped cleanly. Now, I'm going to show you this, and this is really, really to make things very difficult for Mr. Baker. Because you need to really zoom in on this one, because from the distance you're looking at the minute, that looks as if it's been stamped perfectly. But as you get in close, can you see you've got voids on the U?
Okay, yes.
So from a distance, so yeah, we turn it round, so that's been stamped twice. And how much more solid that is. Okay, yeah. So I've got 2 of those, and I'm going to show you the difference between doing both of them. So I'm going to take away the one that's a little bit sketchy, and you'll see yourself when you look at it. I can see that's just not printed as well as that one.
Yeah.
Or not printed, but stamped as well. And
so
then
it's again, like you were saying before about the whole sandwich maker analogy.
Yeah.
If it ain't stamped properly, it won't foil properly.
No, it won't.
Simple as that.
It's that awful thing of we say a bad workman blames the tools, and crafters, we are very bad for blaming ourselves.
Yes.
But unfortunately, with things like this, we do have a tendency to blame the tool.
Yeah.
And it is ourselves.
Yeah.
Because I've done it.
Yeah.
I've gone through, right, well, that one won't work.
Yeah.
And it does work. It's just me that got it wrong.
Yeah.
But it's about just taking the time. So what I found with sentiments is, got a little bit of gold here, standard sandwich. Gold going on to there. It's then going to go to my machine as normal, and I'm going to run it through. And I'm just going to slowly take it through, as I would do normally, normal speed. And can you see there? It's
awesome.
But it's missing a few bits. See on the bit of the G?
Yes.
Yeah. Sentiments are a nightmare. At times, I thought at first. And why? I can't get it. I can get that beautiful detailed tree stamp on MDF perfect. And it's usually because we're trimming the card down, so we're getting uneven pressure.
Oh, of course, yeah, because we always...
that's what it seems to be.
Oh, and that... Okay, right. Well,
and this is what I mean about getting
right.
the sandwich right. So whenever I do a sentiment...
Of course.
What I'm doing is, I'm not getting the pressure right.
Yeah.
Because I'm not doing a full piece.
No.
I'm only doing a little bit.
Yes.
So what I do is, whenever I do a sentiment now, I add a shim.
Underneath.
And I put it between my 3 and my 5.
Right.
Because you remember,
so you don't put it
follow...
under the cut down sentiment, you put it between the plates.
But that just seems to help me.
Okay.
But what I tend to do is, and these were stamped just as well each.
Yeah.
So with a sentiment, leave it to dry.
Okay.
Yeah. Even more important, the sentiment is left to dry. There's a great lady, Sue McDermott, and she says she now that's done some beautiful samples. I've seen some stunning things she's just put on social media, and she actually said, I do all my stamping on, say, on Monday, and then do all my foiling on Tuesday.
Yes.
And it works perfectly. But then we look at that one.
Oh, now that's more like it, isn't it? Yes. Yeah.
There's nowhere missing on that.
Perfect.
Everywhere's gone through. And gold is the hardest one to show, to be honest.
Yes.
Gold and silver, we got far more of those because I invariably use more gold and silver than anything.
Yeah.
And we thought people would use those more than any of the other colours. But sometimes they are the hardest ones for sentiments to do.
I can't believe in 2 hours we're now down to 3 minutes. I mean, like, where has that gone? It's just been amazing. And thank you for all of your feedback and your questions as well. John, in a nutshell, for anyone that is maybe doesn't even have their first die cutting machine thus far, just in a nutshell, tell us what this will do, how beyond your regular die cutting machine this will take you.
When we tested the die cutting machine, We tested this against one of the leading brands. And when we tested it, Sam broke the handle on the leading brand.
Right.
Manual machine, A5, well known.
Okay.
Yeah, this was hardier.
Right.
That's what we loved.
Okay.
So you have got, for a similar price, a fantastic die cutting machine that I've used endlessly. But then you've also got a technique machine.
Yeah.
So you can do your foiling, you can do your letter pressing, you can do your stencils, you can do your pressed papers, make your own papers, get 2 layers of, I can't even think of the word, rice paper and run that through. You can get fantasy films and fibres and run those through and melt them and seal them, so you don't need to use an iron. You can make wax crayon backgrounds with it. So there's so much more you can do with what is going to take up on your desk an A5 die cutting machine space.
For people that have got one, and for people that are just joining the party as well, where can they find you using this and showing us even more than this?
You will see on the John Next Door YouTube channel.
Okay.
There are, I think, 15 or 17 videos on it.
Okay.
Which includes the shows that we've done so far, and these will go on.
Yeah.
There's the Crafting with John Next Door and Crafts2 Facebook group. We do weekly lives in there. There are 2 or 3 lives, hour-long shows in there. We've done showing it and answering questions and examples. And you just message us through that, and we're always there to help. But we private message and answer someone at least twice a day on a question on it.
Fantastic.
That's what we're there for.
It is incredible. John, thank you so much, because 2 hours is a long old marathon, but we've covered so much and yet so little, because
there
there's
is
so much more.
I haven't got to showing you on vellum, or much with the magic medium, or with the rice paper, or
and see, that's
any
the thing.
of it.
That's the thing, isn't it? Talk about opening up your imagination. I know now that you can't wait to open your box as well. If you haven't got your box sorted and secured, if you have not ordered your Kaleido so far, this is the last chance saloon in this show. It's already been massively, massively popular. Remember, bear in mind all of its capabilities, and you want to go back on rewind through this 2-hour show as well if you missed any of it, because it really is well worth a watch. This is not just another machine. This is an incredible, incredible machine. When are you back with us, John?
6th of June, I think.
Fantastic. See you then. Good to see you as always. Please make sure that you check out your basket. It's been an amazingly busy show, and so it should be. This is a genius of a machine.